Hi guys, and welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. On this week's show, we're talking about getting serious about your training, how you can maximise the time that you spend training, and we're going to have a look at a new move for the Flair Project from Sunny Chana at the West Midlands Flair Club and TGI Fridays. So let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ. Here's your host, David Eden-Sangwell.
Okay guys, so this week I've been thinking a lot about the kind of what we can do as bartenders and what we can take from other areas and other disciplines and put into our Flair training to make the most out of the time that we actually have to practice, and so that we're not basically wasting our time. Now, I'm going to probably be pretty unpopular here, but I think that the majority of the training that bartenders do is probably fairly pointless. Now, don't get me wrong, you need to practice, and the practicing that we're doing at the moment, the way that we do it at the moment, has worked. But when we look at other disciplines, if you look at a gym, for example, there's a few different types of people that go to a gym. You've got the guys that will go in there, they'll do some light cardio, then they'll kind of do a bit of a lap of the resistance machines, and they'll do a bit of this and a bit of that, and they'll, spend probably longer than they need to on certain machines because they feel like it makes more of a difference, and then they'll skip certain parts of the body completely, and then they'll go and do a bit more cardio just to cool down because they've heard online that that's an important part of it, and, it could well be. But, if you are doing your workout and you are watching TV while you're doing it, or you're texting or whatever, you're probably not really that focused on what you're doing. You find the other group of people that go to a gym, your bodybuilders, your kind of real gym rats that are focused on it, and they know the results that they want, and they've done the research, and they put 100% into it every time. Those people that walk into the gym and they're like, right, today is arms day, today is shoulders day, today is chest and back day, today is leg day, although I know they hate the leg day. Those people that are choosing to go to the gym with a task at hand, this is what I need to achieve today, this is my plan, this is how I'm going to achieve my targets, this is what I need to do. Those are the people that actually get the results at the gym. Now, I've always been, especially when it comes to business stuff, a little bit kind of dubious of the targets and the trying to quantify everything and trying to put everything on paper and have, right, this is what we need to do this week. We need to get X number of sales, but it works. If it didn't work, companies wouldn't be doing it. And in the same way, these guys at the gym, they split everything down into the certain body parts, they research supersets, they know exactly what the benefits are of doing this exercise versus this exercise, and what the risks are, and what what I'm saying is, these guys, because they're so passionate about what they do, that is why they've put the work in to know exactly what they're doing. Now, contrast this with, a pretty good Flair bartender. Now, for me especially, at practice time essentially means, for me, picking up a bottle and a tin and having a bit of a play. I forgot I could do this move, or I remember I used to do this move. Let's just polish that, see if I can get it. A lot of the time, you're doing moves that you know that you can do well, and you're not pushing yourself, perhaps, to learn new moves. Perhaps we need to rethink the way that we're approaching our practice time as bartenders. Now, it's difficult to do, but if you were to sit down ahead of time and think to yourself, right, I need to nail this move today. This is a move that I've been trying for weeks or months, And I'll try it a few times every time I practice, and quite often it's one of those things that you'll hit maybe a couple of times in a practice session. But the majority of times you'll be dropping the same move. If you were to spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, purely practicing that one move, I don't mean the moves that run up to it, I don't mean the moves that come after it if you hit it. I mean, if you spend 5 minutes just focusing on that one move, what do you think? How many times could you do a single Flair move in 5 minutes? I would say you're probably looking maybe 10 seconds for each attempt, assuming you've got to pick up the bottle up again, or pick up a tin or whatever. But say 10 seconds. So that gives you 6 attempts a minute. 36, what we're talking? We're talking, 30 attempts at that move in 5 minutes. 30 attempts, you're going to be getting a lot closer. Towards the end of those 5 minutes, yeah, you'll start to get a little bit tired of that move, but 30 attempts at that move, you are going to be getting very much towards a lot more proficiency with it. What was the last time that you attempted the same move 30 times in a row? I know for me it's been a really long time. But that's going to change. So I'm off to the Flair Club tomorrow night, which is actually Sunday, which is when this podcast will go live. And the guys are going to see a little bit of a different kind of mindset from me. So I am planning to do probably a bit of a warm-up at the beginning, no different to usual. But then I've got a couple of moves in mind that I really want to try and nail. Just this move and this move. We're there for a couple of hours, so there should be no problems with trying to get something like that done. But tell me, how is it that you guys practice? I'd really love to hear from you guys. There's the voicemail message system on the site. You can drop me a message through the contact form, but just let me know, when you go to practice, what is the kind of setup for it? Do you have a practice bar? Do you know exactly what moves you're going to practice beforehand, or is it a case of just time that you allocate to flaring and you kind of go and just freestyle it for those few minutes that you can grab to flare, or that hour, or that couple of hours, or that morning, or that afternoon in the park? You know, how hard do you train? When you think about it and you look at it objectively, are you actually training hard, or are you flaring because you enjoy it? I think I've been doing the latter. But with the Flair Project and the time constraint of, I know that sort of this time next year I'm going to be entering a world-class competition, assuming that they accept me. There's a bit of a time constraint on it, and there's pressure, and I need to be better than I am now. I'm not at the standard at the moment where I can enter a World Championships. I hope that by this time next year I will be. Because otherwise it's going to be really embarrassing, because I've kind of committed to you guys that is what I'm going to do. So, please do get in touch. And if you've not already signed up for it, theflairproject.com, there is an email collection point on there, and it's purely so I can keep you guys up to date with what's going on with the Flair Project, if I need your help, how to submit your videos, all that kind of thing. And I would love for every one of you to be involved in the Flair Project. This is a journey that we're all going on together, and I want you along with me. So, we've got Sunny Chana from TGI Fridays in Sutton Coldfield, and from the West Midlands Flair Bartending Club, who's provided this week's Flair move for the Flair Project. So let's get an introduction from Sunny, see what he's up to, and see what move he's got for us.
Right. My name's Sunny. I'm from the West Midlands Flair Club, and the move I'm going to show you is for the West Midlands Flair Club signature move, which we're going to use for the Flair Project. Basically, over the shoulder, bounce, stall, palm of the hand.
Shows it again. It's awesome.
You like it?
I love it. Amazing. That's cool.
We've been doing that for years.
Like it. So Sunny's move is essentially a stall where the bottle is landing on the hand, palm up. So it's a little bit different. The standard stall that the majority of the bartending world uses is the backhand stall, where the bottle will be thrown. You can't go much more specific than that because it can go from pretty much any direction and lands on the back of your hand. The other kind of common stall points that people use is the forearm and the elbow stall. A few people do a forehead stall. That terrifies me, so I'm probably not going to try that, although I can balance a glass on there, pour a drink into it, that's no problems. But I think trying to catch a glass bottle on my head may be a step too far for me, and especially practicing it with a plastic Flair bottle that weighs even more. I don't think that's going to be something I'm going to be doing too soon. But so we're gonna try this out. Next week's show, I promise I will have some footage of myself doing Dave Chuvalaris' move, which, if you remember, was the forearm. It's kind of the upper arm bump with a full bottle for a working Flair move, and then also try and get some footage of Sunny's stall, and I want to try and land it from somewhere different, so perhaps a shadow pass or something along those lines, throwing the bottle blind behind my head. It's an interesting move, and we're going to obviously fit it in there because that's what this submission process is like. So if you want to submit a video to us, and you would like your video to be involved in the Flair Project, there's a couple of things that I need from you guys. The first thing is, please hold your camera phone sideways. We don't want any vertical video syndrome, and I have got a little bit of a public service announcement to play for you now.
Vertical videos happen when you hold your camera the wrong way. Your video will end up looking like crap.
There are more and more people addicted to making vertical videos every day. It's not crack or nothing, but it's still really bad.
So as you can see, vertical video syndrome is real, and it's a menace that we all need to take care of. I'm going to place the rest of that video all on the Facebook page, and also pop it in the show notes for this show over at bartenderhq.com. Click on the podcast icon at the top and you will be taken to the podcast category, and that'll be right near the top. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me this week. I would love it if you subscribe to us on iTunes and on YouTube. We've got a few subscribers now on YouTube, and I'd love for you guys to add yourselves on. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, click that little subscribe button for me and give it a thumbs up if you like the video. If you've not liked the video, give it a thumbs down. That's absolutely fine too, but tell me whether you like it or not. And I will see you guys on next week's bartenderhq.com podcast. In the meantime, make sure you get over there to theflairproject.com, sign up, join the fun, and I'd really love to have your moves as a part of the Flair Project. Until next time, guys, I've been Eden-Sangwell, your host, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ.